another live. Be out in my jungle. It is Sunday, January something. And I'm just checking things out, making sure things are warm enough out here. Maybe give it a little bit more heat. There we go. There's always some drama with me in this greenhouse. Of course, I came out this morning and I had to turn the heater up because, well, besides the snow that we got, not sure. Guess I'm back. I am back. So yeah, it was pretty cold this morning when I came out. And I had to immediately add heat. This heater I have down here. Well, thanks, Ron, for being here. It would be a personal show. For sure. But I did take this in, which generally sits up here year-round. This plant was a piece of a bigger plant that I've had for a few years. This is my Leptotes bicolor. I actually don't think it's bicolor, although it could be. But it was Gold Country Orchids. I think it might be a cross. But yeah, you can see the ink has washed off. Well, currently it is 60 and about outside it's about 15. In here, well, I just showed you what it is in here. But this morning it was below 50s. It was probably in the 40s. But I brought this inside. This is a species, Leptotes, is from Brazil. It's a coastal orchid, epiphytic. Grows in coastal mountains there in Brazil. It's found in the mountain range around, hey Denise, happy Sunday. But it was first found around the mountains around Rio de Janeiro, but then it was also found just further up the coast. Like I said, this was a division that was divided and then I remounted. I probably had 4 of these, and this is the only one that survived. And I rarely look at it. These get less water in the winter, but they still get an occasional drink because you don't want this. These are the pseudobulbs. You don't want them to get too wrinkly. And there are numerous new growths. This is generally a spring bloomer. So as these new growths proceed, hopefully they will get a spike. Yeah, I really like this chala wood. And the plants that I've mounted on the chala like it, much in the way that tree fern is. It allows a lot of air and lots of places for the mount to attach, or the roots to go through and attach, and I like that. So that's a benefit of that. But yeah, I'm pleased with. I don't know if it's going to bloom this spring. Hopefully, those will continue to bloom, continue to grow. We will see. It is a fragrant flower. I'm sure everybody knows that. That's Leptotes. Fairly common. Trying to think what else is going on. Yeah, I need to check with things back here because, well, they're pretty dry. But if the temperatures are as cool as they have been, because it's cooled down significantly since it was 60 degrees or 58. And since it has cooled down, I back off on the water and give them a little less water. And it does look like, if I can get it, those buds on that are progressing. That's my Stardust Firebird. And those are buds. But I bought it in buds, so you all know that. Still hoping one day to see something on my Florum, which is mounted up here. But it should bloom off of deciduous canes and not canes with leaves. So it would be off of one of these older canes. I believe that is a couple of years ago. This is probably last year's. Not really seeing any nubbins. So it's just wait and see, wait and see. So yeah, I had hoped to water, fertilize, but it's too cold. It's too cold. I need some sunshine too. If it were sun, I would be able to do it. So yeah, I was kind of hoping that I would get some more blooms off of the inflorescence on this Herrera recticala, but it looks like it's dried up. Is that no, that's just a leaf. It's just a leaf. Still looking okay. While I'm here, I'm going to do a little bit of misting and filling up these humidifiers. That's my primary thing in the wintertime, is making sure that these are still full and on. And I can see that is empty. And that's my plant. I finally got in touch with Natalia, I believe, on her Etsy page. She's gonna make me a pot. I sent her a picture with a ruler. Well, it was a yardstick, sort of measuring the width and how tall the plant was, so that she can make me a ceramic pot or something. It's going to be a hanger that I'll put inside of this, probably bare root, and then I will wire it inside of the pot, and it will have holes in the pot so that I can so that the roots can wander out. So basically, I've just been holding it here and keeping it watered. That's cold damage that happened weeks ago, but the plant is still good. Hey Mick, hopefully you're having a good weekend over there. Must be fairly late. But thanks for joining me. It's just doing a little bit of watering on my bulbos and some other things that are down here where it's a little bit warmer. I'm not watering the things that are down there that way because it's cold down there, cooler. So that's what I'm doing. That is pretty much it. And this is what I do. This is just tap water, guys. This is not rainwater. When I am fertilizing, I use rainwater. I do. So yeah, I just do it haphazardly. Especially trying to get my Vandas, my mounts. Oh, you're good. You're good. You are good. I guess 9:15 isn't so bad. So yeah, giving some things a drink. You can see how those angraecum roots turn green, just like Vandas do. It's my stuff that's in semi, filling them up. Make sure I get my silogeny, that bulbo. And the things over here, that angraecum that's in semi. Yeah, I love watering this way. Make sure I get that, which is still growing despite it looking bad. It's a deciduous dendrobium. Giving some of these drink. That's my Nindy up there. It's still doing okay. Well, not there. Over there. The stalks are up here. There's the currant leaf up there. And there's my other Nindy up here. So yeah. And there's that growth. Still peeking up. It's my Nemoria Walisi. And keep watering. So yeah, that's pretty much my goal for today. Making sure my humidifiers are good. Hopefully everyone is having a good weekend. We had snow, just a dusting really, nothing major, but there was black ice underneath that snow, which is bad. Black ice is bad. Hopefully my camera is catching some of this. Because people ask me questions about how I water. There really is no technique. I just let the hose do it for the most part. It's a different thing when I am fertilizing for sure. Because you've seen me fill those buckets up with the rainwater and then do my thing that way. So both ways are therapeutic to me. Somehow, even when I was bending over and breaking my back, it was therapeutic. It just seemed sort of like it goes along with the hobby. It is challenging, totally requires your 200% commitment. It's just challenging in every way. But I'm not complaining. All right, well, I think I'm pretty good on that. Maybe I need to get my bulbos. Those are the ones that are most important. They need water all year round. Okay, I think I can put the hose up, give that a little bit of water. Make sure to turn the hose off. Okay. Yeah, I wish I had some blooms to show you guys, something new. But alas, I don't. You know, I was going to ask, what do you think about this? Yeah, Todd, tell us about that channel, because I missed it. Well, I didn't miss it, but at the very end of my video yesterday, as I was showing this, which my question is this a virus? Is this showing virus traits? Does that look like a color block? A color break, I mean? I know that you remember this flower. Hey, Fernanda. So that's what I was asking, but I thought all evening about that, your cooking channel. You said you were making a video on cooking. I don't know whether it's a channel, but I assume if you're making a video, it would be posted somewhere. But so what do you think? Does that look like color break? Like right in there? So you were videotaping, making a video on chili dogs? So, okay, so that does look like color brick, like I thought. So, I suppose I should separate this plant. Now look, as I'm down here looking at this plant, I'm sort of crouched down here. As I pan back up, I'm looking right at this right here, thinking maybe not. I know that's a flower. Here I'm thinking that there's a flower in there, but that's not. Wishful thinking. Sorry, psych. Oh, wow. Nelson, you're lucky. Well, maybe, I guess. That's nice. This is a Hauserman Phalaenopsis right here. They have it right now. I saw a whole room full of those. If I lived near Hauserman, I would have, gosh, I would be broke. No, I know my limits. I am teasing. I know my limits. This did come from Hauserman's for sure. And this did not come from Hauserman's. And, sort of a cautionary note, I'll just leave it at a cautionary note from people in the know in the Illinois Orchid Society swear that Hauserman's sells virus plants. And there's a great number of them that do not go to Hauserman, or they go there because we do have events there, but they don't buy their plants because they're the type that assume that if there's one virus plant, they're all virus. So, and they've been saying that for years. So, I can't say that I've ever had a virus plant. I've never, I end up, my plants that end up dying, there's no way to not notice the rhizome when you're disposing of them, and I've never had a rhizome or seen a rhizome on any of my dead plants that had the ring on them. But this did not come from Hauserman. This plant did come from Hauserman, and actually, in my video where I was picking out a plant, and I was saying, I think maybe I did say it in the video, but when I brought the plant up to the cash register, they did not let me buy the plant that I had shown off in the video. because they said that it looked virused, and they immediately took it from me and sent me back to get another one. So, yeah, you probably did the right thing, Todd, unless you are picking it out yourself, because I don't see any issues, visible issues yet. Not on this one. Not on, and these flowers opened after I brought the plant back. It had 2 spikes on it when I got it home. So, but the other one sure did have a lot of color break on the flowers as you look closer to them, which is sad to say because Hauserman is definitely a nice place to have close. But I've noticed some changes in the recent years there. I won't, that's all I'll say about it. Just changes in staff, I should say, and just attitudes. So, well, I still love going to Hauserman, and I've debated even going to, they have an open house in February, and I used to go there. That's really when I used to go. The only time I would go was their open house, because it really is a big deal. But I am going to be in St. Louis at the end of this month for their big spring. Wow. So I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm like screwing around and not really paying attention. But I will be in St. Louis. Hey, Rez. I will be in St. Louis end of this month, the beginning of February. They're having their spring show. And anyway, I will be there just overnight. So I'll be filming that show, and then I'll be going around and seeing what vendors they have that are there. I know Nats is going to be there. I'm not sure who else. Probably Windy Hill Orchids. They're pretty good. But what I like about Missouri show, the vendors they have, besides Nats and besides Windy Hill, the rest of them are really small vendors. So it's like almost like you're getting divisions from their personal collection, which I like. You do take some risk because you don't know the plants, the person, but a lot of times those plants are very cheap, and the divisions that they usually give are really nice size. I got not this plant, but that's when I first got into found Angraecum subulatum was there, and it was probably a piece this big. Maybe it was a little smaller. It wasn't so bushy, but I believe the division that I bought was $10. And I remember getting one division and leaving probably 4 or 5 other ones. And then I know when I got home, I wished I could have bought all 5 of them, just because I liked it so much. And it wasn't even in bloom. I just liked the way that the foliage. That's why I can always tell when this plant is doing well, because you can always tell that by the ends of the growths, because they're always a little bit crooked. They grow a little bit wonky when they're growing new, when their growths are extending, or when these are new growths. They grow a little wonky. And that's generally how you can tell that they're actually growing. When they're not growing, they kind of lose that little curve at the end, if that makes any sense. But this is still, like I had said when I bought this plant, the season for this plant to bloom is fall going into winter, and they can bloom off and on. And so this is the season when they should be putting on, or they should be extending their growths. And this is an Angraecum, if I didn't say, Angraecum subulatum, if I didn't say that. So there, Erie color, you should find that at Tamiami. I am sure you will find that. I'm sure that several places should have that. I know Equigenera will have it for sure. And I mean, guys, how long has this plant been in bloom? It's probably been a month, maybe. Still so nice. But yeah, this is something else that I need to give some water to. I'm just going to dunk it a little bit here. This is a Phalaenopsis cross, Celebensis crossed with Equestris. What about Nepenthes? Who wants a Nepenthes? That sounds like a tropical plant for Todd, or anybody really. I've never been successful at it. I've tried so many times. They just won't do it. They just won't bloom for me. I don't get it. This is something else that I'm fully expecting to do something. That's a Trichocentrum. That's last year. No, this is this year's growth. That is that. This would be a rat's tail Oncidium. This is Oncidium nudum. This is last year's growth. This is the bloom spike. And you can see it blooms from inside of the sheath. This is this year's growth. There is the sheath down there. These do bloom between winter and spring. Little yellow flowers on a short spike. That's kind of pendant. That's nudum. It's kind of in the same family as these. Well, it is in the same family as my Stacy eyes, because this is a rat's tail Oncidium. But I am being very careful with these because I don't want to give them too much water. I don't. So I'm just very leery about it. What else? I'm really hoping to see some more spikes on a lot of my Oncidiums up here that are maturing their growths. All of these that are up along here on the ceiling up here. And I've got more back heading towards that way. They should be putting out or starting to show their spikes because it takes them forever. Same as this Oncidium spike right here. Really. You know, I've never been, I don't know, I'm a snob. And that orchid's, what is it, Cibellata? For some reason, that's never done anything for me. It kind of, to me, it looks just like a regular old dancing lady. And you can see I don't have any sherry babies, no dancing ladies, no whatever you want to call them. No twinkles. They're just too common. And nudum and Stacyi are just a little bit different than that one. No offense on that one. I'm sure you grew it to a monster, because I do believe that one can get like hundreds of flowers all over it. If grown pretty well, I think. I'm sure you had it. Sure, it was beautiful, but I just get bored with yellow. I do. So now this right here, this is my, well, yeah, you know what it is. It's my Pandorata, the black orchid, the black orchid, or I should say the first black orchid, because this one is another black orchid back here. There's the tag. No blooms. It has bloomed for me before. And if it were going to bloom, it would be pushing up around this time, because this is maxillaria sort of time when they begin to do things to prepare for the spring. They generally start to push up their buds from the base of the new pseudobulbs. You know, I agree. Roger's twinkles. Well, Roger can make any mundane plant look like it's worth having. That's all I'll say about that. You know, that's a compliment. But knowing that I would never be able to have a plant like that in my care, because I've had twinkles before. I've had Sherry Baby before, and every single one of them have petered out after maybe a year or two of blooming really well. Then seems like after they hit that 2 or 3 year range, then it's like they just stall, and then they stall for a year, and then that next year they put up a growth, and then the growth stalls, and then it just seems to go backwards from that point on, and it just, it's just not worth it. So that's just my feeling on that. I wish, but there are greater things that I have kicked out of my collection before. Yeah, I mean, I think they're a cooler growing plant. Same as, anyway, they are a cooler growing plant, twinkles. Because one of their species is a cooler growing oncidium. I believe it's ornithorhynchum. Oncidium ornithorhynchum. I believe that is one of the species where they get the fragrance from, and the small size of the flower, because ornithorhynchum is a pink, sort of a more intense pink with a little yellow lip, very small flowers that are clusters like twinkle, and has a very almost bubblegummy, sugary fragrance. And I'm pretty sure that is where one of the parents of twinkle, pretty sure. And I just couldn't do it. So it's me. It's not twinkle. It's me. And like I said, I'm a snob. I like unusual, and if I were to go out to yeah, you're right. There are a lot of them, but I prefaced my black statement to the first one, which I remember. I probably had heard about the black orchid before that movie, Wild at Heart, but that movie starts out with mentioning the black orchid, and then Mickey Rourke ends up buying black orchids in the movie, and it was Pandorata. So that's the first reference to a black orchid. And I remember from that movie, there was no Google, but I looked it up in a library or something, and it mentioned the black orchid as being Pandorata. And I know probably before Fred Clark did all of his hybrids, Shunkiana was discovered, I'm pretty sure, before Millennium Magic, which really isn't black, but the After Dark clone probably is more black. But Chunkiana, it might be in that range of dark color, probably. Although I've never tried to grow any of those catasetums after dark. Well, I did have a Millennium Magic, but I think after dark might be darker. So here is that plant. One of them, at least. This is the BC Miami that we talk about all the time. North Miami. North Miami. That continues to put out growths. This was last year's right here. But then it's got these new growths. And then there's some in the back. Yeah, I've given up on catasetums. I really have. I really have. No catasetums, no zygos, no Miltoniopsis. Oh, it was wild orchids. I'm sorry. Or maybe it was it called black orchid? It was black orchid. Was it black orchid? Or was it wild orchid? I have the wrong name. Wild at Heart was David Lynch. My bad. Which I should say that David Lynch is another, but that's another topic. But yeah, you're talking about Wild. It's not. Is it Wild at Heart? Or is that another movie? Wild Orchids. Or is it? Okay, Wild Orchids with Lisa Bonet, Mickey Rourke, and the girl that he was dating at the time, I believe, they ended up having a very tumultuous relationship. But anywho, that movie, and I'm pretty sure it was a Pandorata because he brought her a big, huge strand of black orchids, and it was the Pandorata, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure. Yeah, that movie was right after that movie that he was eating, was it 9.5 weeks? Where he was wiping food all over, who was that? Michelle Pfeiffer, out of the refrigerator and licking it off her body and stuff like that, or eating food off of her. I think that was Michelle Pfeiffer. But anyway, guys, I am thinking I'm going to get off of here. It has been 38 minutes. Hey, Kathy. And it has been great spending time with you this weekend. And I'm going to get back on my Orchid a Day videos. I've been affected by this dreary weather up there for the last 3 days and have not done a darn thing besides come out here and talk to you guys, honestly. So, well, and cook dinner, gotta eat. Well, and I went to church today as well, so I can't say I'm a total slacker. Almost, though. Yeah, sorry. You'll catch me again. There will always be another. I'm not dead yet. Wow, 16 people. I love you guys. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. This is so fun, and I wish I could do this every day. Maybe I will one day plan on before work live. I don't know, because I am out here. But anyway, I will see you guys soon. Enjoy your orchids. Take care.